How to talk in English fluently. At the beginning, learning to speak English fluently feels like standing in front of a closed door, unsure how to open it. Many people believe fluency comes from memorizing difficult grammar rules or learning thousands of words, but the truth is much simpler and more human. Fluency begins with courage. This is the story of a young learner who once struggled to speak even a single sentence in English. Vacation pra-unly, yet slowly transformed into a confident speaker. Lammed not through perfection, but through daily effort and belief. Every morning, he would wake up and decide to learn just a few words. Not many, just 5 or 10. He wrote them down, repeated them aloud, and tried to use them in simple sentences. At first, his sentences were broken and full of mistakes. He felt embarrassed even when he spoke alone. But he made a powerful decision. He would not stop. He understood that mistakes were not his enemy, but his teacher. Day by day, he spoke to himself in English, describing his actions, his thoughts, even his feelings. When he walked outside, he tried to name everything he saw in English. When he didn't know a word, he searched for it and added it to his growing list. In the beginning, progress was slow. Sometimes he felt like giving up. He watched others speaking fluently and thought, I can never be like them. But instead of quitting, he changed his approach. He started listening more. He watched simple English videos, repeated sentences, and copied pronunciation. He didn't try to understand everything at once. He focused on small improvements. One sentence today, one conversation tomorrow. Slowly, his fear started to disappear. One day, he gathered the courage to speak with someone in English. His voice was shaking, his words were not perfect, but something magical happened. The other person understood him. That moment changed everything. He realized that fluency is not about speaking perfectly, but about communicating clearly. That small success gave him confidence, and confidence gave him speed. He continued practicing every day. He made English a part of his life, not just a subject. He spoke while eating, walking, even thinking. He stopped translating from his native language and started thinking directly in English. His mind began to adapt. Words came faster, sentences became smoother, and his fear turned into excitement. Months passed, and the same person who once hesitated to speak now spoke naturally. People started asking him how he became fluent. His answer was simple: consistency, patience, and practice. He did not learn everything in one day. He trusted the process and kept moving forward even on difficult days. The journey to English fluency is not a race. It is a path that rewards those who stay consistent and believe in themselves. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start to become better. Speak daily. Listen carefully. Learn step by step. And most importantly, never be afraid of making mistakes. Because every mistake brings you closer to fluency. And one day, without even realizing it, you will find yourself speaking English fluently, not because you forced it, but because you lived it. But the journey did not end there. Fluency is not a destination, it is a continuous growth. As he became more comfortable speaking English, he discovered a new challenge: understanding different accents, expressing deeper thoughts, and speaking confidently in front of many people. At first, this new level felt just as difficult as the beginning. Kuhn danced. But this time, he was not afraid. He had already learned one powerful lesson: progress comes from practice, not perfection. He started pushing himself a little more. Every day dawned. Instead of only speaking simple sentences, he began telling short stories in English. He described his day in detail, shared his opinions, and even tried to explain his dreams and goals. Sometimes he paused, searching for the right words. Sometimes he made mistakes again, but now those mistakes did not stop him. They shaped him. He also began to surround himself with English. He changed the language of his phone, watched movies without subtitles, and listened to English conversations daily. The est land. At first, he could not understand everything, but he trained his ears slowly. Word by word, sentence by sentence, his listening became stronger, dumbed, and as his listening improved, his speaking became more natural. There were days when he felt tired and unmotivated. Days when he thought he was not improving fast enough. But instead of quitting, he reminded himself why he started. He remembered the days when he could not even speak a single sentence, and when he compared his past with his present, he saw progress. That gave him strength to continue. One of the biggest turning points in his journey came when he stopped being afraid of people's opinions. Earlier, he used to think, what if they laugh at me? But later, he realized something important. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to judge others. Zamdi. And even if someone laughs, it does not matter. What matters is growth. What matters is becoming better than yesterday. Slowly, he started speaking English with real people more often. He joined conversations, asked questions, and shared his ideas. At first, he spoke slowly, then a little faster. Then naturally, his confidence grew not because he became perfect, but because he became fearless. He also learned that fluency is not only about words, it is about expression, tone, and feeling. He started focusing on how he spoke, not just what he spoke. Mengzia. He practiced speaking with emotion, with clarity, and with confidence. He learned to smile while speaking, to maintain eye contact, and to enjoy the conversation. Time passed, and his transformation became clear to everyone around him. The same person who once avoided speaking English was now helping others learn. He encouraged beginners, shared his story, and reminded them that fluency is possible for anyone who is willing to try. And now, if you are watching or listening to this story, remember this. You are at the beginning of your own journey. You might feel nervous, confused, or even afraid. But that is completely normal. Every fluent speaker you see today was once a beginner just like you. Start small. Speak daily. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Listen carefully. Practice consistently. And most importantly, believe in yourself. Because fluency is not a talent you are born with. It is a skill you build. Step by step. Day by day. One day you will look back and smile, realizing that the journey you once thought was impossible has become your reality. And on that day, you will not just speak English fluently, you will inspire others to begin their own journey too. As his journey continued, something even deeper began to change. Loom. English was no longer just a language for him. It became a tool, a bridge that connected him to new ideas, new people, and new opportunities. He started reading simple books, then moved to articles, and later to full stories. Every new sentence he understood felt like unlocking a new door in his mind. One day, he decided to challenge himself in a new way. He stood in front of a mirror and started speaking for 5 minutes without stopping. At first, it was difficult. He paused, repeated words, and sometimes forgot what to say, but he kept going. The next day, he tried again. 5 minutes became 10. 10 minutes became 15. Slowly, he trained his brain to think faster and speak more smoothly. He also discovered the power of recording himself. He used his phone to record his voice while speaking in English. When he listened to it, he noticed his mistakes, his pronunciation, and his pauses. At first, he did not like his own voice. It sounded strange to him. Demand. But instead of feeling discouraged, he used it as a tool to improve. Each recording made him better than before. Another important step in his journey was learning phrases instead of single words. Planed. He realized that native speakers do not think word by word. They use complete phrases naturally. So instead of learning just happy, he learned I feel really happy today. Bond. Instead of go, he learned I am going to the market. This small change made a big difference. His speech became smoother and more natural. He also practiced thinking in English throughout the day. When he saw something, he described it in his mind. When he made a decision, he thought about it in English. Jurors at first, his thoughts were slow and simple. But over time, they became faster and clearer. This habit helped him speak without translating, which is one of the biggest secrets of fluency. There were still challenges. Sometimes he forgot words in the middle of a sentence. Sometimes he could not express exactly what he wanted to say. But instead of stopping, he learned to explain things in a different way. He used simple words to describe complex ideas. This made him a better communicator, not just a better English speaker. Jamondia. As months turned into a year, his confidence reached a new level. He could now speak with strangers, understand conversations, and express his ideas clearly. Banged. But what made him truly fluent was not just his vocabulary or grammar. It was his mindset. He no longer feared mistakes. He welcomed them. He no longer waited to be perfect. He simply spoke. One day, he met someone who was just starting to learn English. The same fear, the same hesitation, the same doubts. He smiled, because he saw his past in that person. And he shared his story, not as a teacher, but as someone who had once struggled the same way. He said, fluency is not about being the best. It is about being consistent. If you speak a little every day, you will improve. If you listen carefully, you will understand. And if you believe in yourself, you will succeed. That moment made him realize something powerful. His journey was not only about learning English, Jamba. It was about growth, patience, and self-belief. It was about proving to himself that he could do something he once thought was impossible, And now, as this story reaches you, remember that you are capable of the same transformation. You do not need special talent. You do not need expensive courses. You only need a strong decision and daily practice. Start today. Speak even if your voice shakes. Learn even if it feels slow. Try even if you make mistakes. Band. Because every step you take brings you closer to your goal. And one day you will not just speak English fluently. You will speak with confidence, with clarity, and with pride, And your story will become the motivation for someone else who is just starting their journey. As time moved forward, his journey reached a stage where English was no longer something he had to practice consciously. It became a natural part of his life. He could switch between languages with ease, express his thoughts without hesitation, and most importantly, enjoy the process of communication. But even then, he never stopped learning because he understood one truth: Learning never ends. He began to explore deeper levels of communication. Mummed. He worked on storytelling, humor, and emotion. In his speech, he noticed how fluent speakers use tone, pauses, and expressions to make their words powerful. Mummed. So he practiced not just speaking, but speaking. Well, he told stories with feeling, shared ideas with confidence, and learned how to keep people interested when he spoke. Menges. One of the biggest changes in his life came when opportunities started appearing. He could now watch international content, learn new skills online, and even connect with people from different countries. English opened doors that he never even knew existed. It gave him access to knowledge, confidence in interviews, and the ability to express himself in a global language. But even at this stage, he remembered his difficult days. The fear, the hesitation, the broken sentences, and that memory kept him humble. He never laughed at beginners. Instead, he encouraged them. He told them that fluency is not magic. It is a result of small daily actions repeated over time. Banged. He also realized something very important. Many people wait for the perfect time to start speaking English. They think they need to learn more words, more grammar, or become more confident first. Bad. But he learned that confidence does not come before speaking. Confidence comes because of speaking. The more you speak, the more confident you become. So he started sharing a simple rule with everyone. Do not wait. Start now. Speak with whatever you know. Use simple words. Make small sentences. But speak. Because silence never builds fluency. Only practice does. He also began helping others practice. He listened to them, corrected them gently, and motivated them when they felt low. And every time he helped someone else, his own skills became even stronger. Teaching became a new way of learning. Sometimes, he would sit quietly and think about his journey. From fear to confidence, from silence to expression, from doubt to belief. It was not an easy path, but it was a meaningful one, and that meaning made every effort worth it. Now, if you imagine yourself in his place, you will see that his story is not different from yours. The only difference is that he started and he continued. That is the secret. Not speed, not perfection, not talent. Just consistency. If you take one step today and another tomorrow, you will move forward. If you speak one sentence today and two tomorrow, you will improve. If you learn one word today and use it in your life, it will stay with you forever. Your journey might be slow. You might feel stuck sometimes. Banked. You might compare yourself to others. But remember, every learner has their own pace. What matters is that you do not stop. And one day, without even realizing it, you will be speaking English fluently. You will express your thoughts clearly, share your ideas confidently, and connect with the world in a way you never imagined. And when that day comes, you will not just remember the result. You will remember the journey, the effort, the struggle, the growth, and you will be proud. Not just because you learned English, but because you proved to yourself that you can achieve anything with patience, practice, and belief. So start today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Your future fluent self is waiting for you. And even after reaching a level where he could speak smoothly and confidently, he discovered something surprising. Fluency was not the end of the journey, Lamjet. It was just the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where he could truly use English to shape his future, to express his identity, and to connect deeply with the world around him. 3. He began to notice how powerful words can be. The same sentence, spoken with confidence and clarity, could inspire someone, comfort someone, or even change someone's thinking. Bond. So he started choosing his words more carefully. He practiced speaking not just correctly, but meaningfully. He learned that true fluency is not about speaking fast, media, but about speaking in a way that people understand and remember. There were moments when he pushed himself beyond his comfort zone. He tried public speaking, standing in front of people, and sharing his thoughts in English was once his biggest fear. His heart would beat fast, his hands would shake, and his mind would go blank. Mund. But just like the beginning of his journey, he did not stop. He practiced again and again. Each time, he improved a little more. And, slowly, fear turned into excitement. Leaned. He also realized the importance of listening to others. Good speakers are always good listeners. He paid attention to how others spoke, how they used simple words to explain big ideas. Lambians, how they paused at the right moment, and how they made conversations engaging. He learned that communication is not just about speaking. It is about connecting. As he grew, his mindset became stronger. He stopped comparing himself to others and started focusing on his own progress. He understood that everyone's journey is different. Pemley, some people learn fast, some slow. But what matters is not how quickly you reach the goal, but how consistently you move towards it. Mand. He also accepted that mistakes would never completely disappear. Even fluent speakers make mistakes, but the difference is they do not let those mistakes stop them. Memd. They keep speaking, keep improving, and keep learning. That mindset made him fearless. One day, he looked back at his old notes. Land the simple words, the broken sentences, the small efforts he once made every day. And he smiled, because those small steps had built something powerful. Something that once felt impossible. Lamdia. Now he had a message for anyone who wanted to speak English fluently. He said, "Do not make it complicated. Keep it simple. Speak every day, listen every day, learn every day, and most importantly, trust yourself." He believed that anyone could do it. A student, a worker, a beginner, anyone. Domdias. Because fluency is not limited to a special group of people. It belongs to those who are willing to try, to fail, and to try again. And now this story is not just his story. It is your story too, the Menyard. Because right now you are standing at the same starting point where he once stood. Maybe you feel nervous. Maybe you feel unsure. But that is okay. Take your first step. Speak your first sentence. Make your first mistake. And then take another step. And another. Because the truth is simple. You do not become fluent by waiting. Then you become fluent by doing. And one day, you will speak English not with fear, but with confidence. Not with hesitation, but with clarity. Not just with words, but with meaning. And when that day comes, you will realize something beautiful. The journey you once thought was difficult was actually shaping you into a stronger, more confident version of yourself. Ben so. Keep going. Your voice matters. Your effort matters. And your journey has just begun. And still, his journey continued into a deeper understanding of what real communication means. He realized that English was not only about speaking with people from other countries. It was also about expressing his own thoughts clearly in his own life. He could now think more clearly, organize his ideas better, and explain his opinions with confidence. This change did not happen overnight. It was the result of countless small efforts repeated every single day. Bad Lund. He started noticing something interesting. The more he spoke English, the more his personality grew. He became more open, more confident, and more willing to share his ideas. Earlier, he used to stay quiet in groups, afraid of making mistakes. But now he could speak up, ask questions, and even lead conversations. English did not just change his language, it changed his behavior. He also began to understand the importance of environment. If you want to become fluent, you must surround yourself with the language, Mangja. So he created a small English environment in his daily life. He labeled objects around his room in English, spoke to himself in English during daily tasks, chenda, and even tried to describe his emotions in simple English words. This constant exposure slowly trained his brain to think differently. Sometimes, he would challenge himself with difficult tasks. He would watch a short English video and try to summarize it in his own words. At first, he struggled. He missed important points and forgot vocabulary, jumped. But with practice, he became better at understanding and explaining. This improved both his listening and speaking at the same time. There were also moments of silence in his journey, days when he felt like he was not improving at all. Days when he questioned his progress, but instead of stopping, he learned to trust the process. He understood that growth is not always visible, just like a seed growing underground before becoming a tree. Lenda. His skills were developing quietly, even when he could not see it. He also discovered the importance of patience. Many learners quit because they expect fast results. Mod. But fluency does not come in days or weeks. It comes in months and years of steady practice. He accepted this truth, and that acceptance made him stronger. He no longer rushed. He simply continued. One of his strongest habits became daily speaking practice. Even if he had no one to talk to, he never skipped speaking aloud. He would talk about his plans, his thoughts, and his daily life. Slowly, this habit made speaking English feel normal. Not something strange or difficult, but something natural. As his confidence grew, he started thinking about bigger goals. He wanted to use English for education, career, and global communication. Lind. He realized that this skill could open doors to opportunities he never imagined before. Interviews, online learning, international conversations. Everything became possible, but he never forgot one simple truth that guided his journey from the beginning. Consistency is more powerful than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency builds results. Dined. Even on lazy days, even on difficult days, he kept going. Not perfectly, but steadily. And now, when he looks at beginners struggling with English, he does not see failure. He sees potential. Mond. Because he knows exactly where they are standing, and he knows exactly where they can go if they continue. So he always says one final message to everyone starting their journey. Bam. Do not be afraid of slow progress. Do not be afraid of mistakes. Do not wait for perfect English. Start with imperfect English and improve it every day. Speak today. Speak tomorrow. Speak again and again. Because every word you speak builds your future. And one day, without realizing it, you will wake up and notice something amazing. Tlanst. You are no longer thinking about how to speak English. You are simply speaking it. And that is the moment you become truly fluent.